On Tuesday, Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo revealed that Marilou Danley, the live-in girlfriend of Las Vegas shooter Stephen Paddock, was a person of interest in the investigation, and was being brought back to the United States from the Philippines, where she had traveled 2 weeks before her boyfriend committed the most deadly mass shooting in the history of the country. On Wednesday, Danley, 62, arrived in Los Angeles, having reportedly traveled back voluntarily to clear her name. Here is what we know so far about Danley. 1. Paddock bought her a ticket to the Philippines 2 weeks before the shooting. According to multiple reports and interviews with Danley's sisters, Paddock purchased a cheap ticket to her home country, the Philippines, about 2 weeks before he went on his rampage. In an interview with Australia's Channel 7, video below, the sisters, who both live in Australia and spoke on condition of anonymity, suggested Paddock sent her away so he could carry out his heinous act. She didn't even know that she was going to the Philippines, until Steve said, "Marilou, I found you a cheap ticket to the Philippines," one of the women said. She was sent away. She was sent away so that she will not be there to interfere with what he's planning, so that he can plan what he is planning without interruptions. 2. Paddock wired $100,000 to an account in the Philippines. During the week leading up to the massacre, Paddock wired $100,000 to an account in the Philippines, where Danley was visiting her family since September 22 after he had purchased her a ticket. While it appears that the money was meant for Danley or her family, officials say they have not confirmed the purpose of the transfer. Pope Paul VI arrives in New York, the first pope to visit the United States of America, and the Western Hemisphere. Guts and Borlam begins sculpting Mount Rushmore. 3. Danley lived a double life. According to Newsweek, Danley has used 2 Social Security numbers during her 2+ decades in the United States, and was married to 2 men at the same time, public records show. Describing her life as convoluted, the outlet notes that she married a man while still being married to another, went through a bankruptcy, gave conflicting information in government records, and lived in multiple addresses in several states, some of them simultaneously. Her maiden name was Marilou Natividad. In 1990, she married Gary Danley, and took on his surname. Gary Danley, 76, currently lives in Arkansas. In 1996, Marilou married another man, Jose Bustos, taking on his surname. However, she never legally dissolved her first marriage. Newsweek notes that she has a daughter living in California, but it is unclear whether one of her husbands, or another man, fathered the child. Marilou has also provided conflicting information in official records, and has 2 separate identities in California. Her name is registered as Marilou Natividad-Bustos, and her birthday is listed as January 1962, making her 55 years old. Under a different Social Security number in Nevada, her name is Marilou Danley, and her birthday is listed as December 1954, making her 62. At times, her identities merged. Marilou filed for bankruptcy in 2012, under the name Bustos, while she was still married to Danley and living with Paddock in Reno. Her lawyer during the bankruptcy has not yet responded to a request for comment. Marilou travels back to California often to visit her daughter there, Reno neighbors told Newsweek. 4. Marilou is in love with Paddock. According to her sisters, Danley was in love with Paddock. The 2 women made the claim during their interview with Australia's Channel 7. They insisted she was completely unaware of his intentions to carry out mass murder. One of the sisters suggested Marilou probably was even more shocked than us because she is closer to him than us. To be able to find out that the person you love and live with can do such a thing, and you thought you knew the person yourself. The other sister stressed that Marilou is a good person, and a gentle soul, a mother, grandmother, a sister, a friend. The sisters maintained that Marilou would have stopped Paddock had she known what he was doing. No one can put the puzzles together. No one except Marilou. Because Steve is not here to talk anymore. Only Marilou can maybe help, said one of the sisters. 5. Danley voluntarily returned to the U.S. to clear her name. According to a police official, Danley voluntarily returned to the United States in order to clear her name. Below is the interview with Danley's sisters via NBC News.